The aircraft you see here today began life as the United States Army Air Corps primary trainer in 1942. One of nearly 10,000 of its kind that were manufactured during the war. More pilots trained in a steerman than any other aircraft in history. Watch as Gary approaches from your right. You can hear that engine whining up as he approaches show center. Pulling back on the stick, and the steerman begins to climb. All the way across the top of the classic barn, Stormer's Loop. The first aerobatic maneuver ever performed in an aircraft, believe it or not, 100 years ago. Gary pulls the aircraft straight up. Just as the airspeed gets almost to zero, he kicks in left rudder for the hammerhead. The aircraft comes straight back down towards the ground. As he approaches show center, come back on the sticker. So slowly. Aileron roll. Gary now pulls back on the stick. The aircraft begins to climb once again. Now, originally, the steermans were fitted with a 220 horsepower engine. This aircraft now flying with a 450 horsepower, really increasing the performance of this classic biplane as Gary comes in from your right. Pulling back on the stick. As he goes straight up, watch him in the push over the top of the Humpty Bump. That loud sound you hear the propeller making, believe it or not, is the tips of the propeller actually breaking the speed of sound. Watch as Gary pulls the aircraft straight back up. Once again, the airspeed beginning to bleed off slower and slower, then kicks in. Left rudder for another hammerhead. As he approaches from your left, let's watch as Gary will pull back on the stick and roll this beautiful aircraft upside down. Fully inverted. Beautiful straight line in the sky. Gary Rohr and the steerman. While as a cadet at the United States Air Force Academy, he became a soaring instructor and was captain of the United States Air Force Academy soaring team. Gary attended the United States Air Force Pilot Training Advanced Air Force Base in Oklahoma, from which he was a distinguished graduate. His assignment out of pilot training was that of the Air Force's newest fighter, the F-16 Falcon. Watch as he comes in from your right. Pulling back on the stick, the steerman once again begins to climb. A quarter turn on the vertical upline. Pulling back on the stick. The airplane comes straight back down. Once again, this time away from us, he'll pull back on the stick. The steerman once again begins to climb. Watch the airspeed to begin to bleed off. And another hammerhead. The steerman again were originally designed to be a primary trainer. It would have been the first aircraft a Army Air Corps cadet or Navy cadet would have climbed into to learn the art of flying. The steerman, even though originally designed by steerman, Boeing actually built most of the aircraft during World War II, but the steerman name always stuck with the aircraft. As Gary sits up from your left, you listen to them wind up 450 horsepower as he comes right back. Nice Steermans for many years after World War II, not only used for training, but also were pressed into service as aerial crop dusters. And of course used on the air show circuit as they have been for many, many years, and continue to do so today. Gary coming to us all the way from Noonan, Georgia to be a part of the Fort Smith Air Show. In 2001, this Stearman was fully disassembled and rebuilt, making it one of the newest 69-year-old aircraft in the world today. Here he comes from your left, winding up 450 horsepower. Is Gary Rohr. And the Super Stearman as he comes right back at show center. Pulling back on the stick, you can see how quarter turn on the vertical up line. He'll push. He'll run it for another hammerhead. Quarter turn on the vertical down line. Right back on the deck. He'll pull back on the stick. The Super Stearman begins to climb once again. The beautiful red and white paint scheme. Clearly visible as he brings it down the 45-degree line. Leading half the Cuban 8. Classic barrel roll. It looks like the aircraft rolling on the inside of a barrel. Actually a very difficult maneuver. It has a lot of stick and rudder coordination necessary to pull off the barrel roll. Once again, straight back into the skies. Watch as the airspeed begins to bleed off. Kicks in left rudder once again for another hammerhead. Now, Gary's going to show off a little bit of the power of that 450 horsepower engine as he comes in from your right. Watch as the aircraft will kick into knife edge flight. 450 horsepower, and then right at the top, he'll snap the aircraft around. This aircraft has been fitted with an inverted fuel and oil system. The original Stearmans didn't have that capability, so you couldn't fly a Stearman upside down for any great length of time. Get your cameras ready. As Gary approaches from your left for a nice looking photo pass. This will be a good look at the Stearman. A great sight here at the Fort Smith Air Show. Gary Rohr and a beautiful photo pass in the Stearman.